When the world doubts you, when they laugh at your dreams, when they roll their eyes every time you speak about what you want to become, remember this. You owe no explanation, no announcement, no broadcast of your grind. The strongest storms do not make noise until they arrive, and when they do, nothing can stand in their way. You don't need to tell people what you're working on, you don't need to seek validation, and you don't need applause while you're in the process. The truth is, most people don't believe in you until they can no longer ignore the results standing in front of them. That's why you work hard in silence. You let the pain, the discipline, and the long, lonely hours build something unshakable inside of you. Every day you sacrifice, every moment you push when no one's watching, you rewriting a story that will one day shock everyone who underestimated you. Success isn't about talking, it's about proving. And when your time comes, when your results speak louder than every excuse, they won't just notice you, they'll be forced to respect you. Grind in silence, results speak louder than words. This is not just a motivational phrase, it is a way of living, a philosophy that separates the talkers from the doers. The world is filled with people who love to announce their intentions, who love to speak about what they will achieve, who crave the applause long before they've even started the work. But the truth is, talk is cheap. Anyone can say they're going to succeed. Anyone can boast about their dreams. Anyone can tell the world how disciplined they are. But very few are willing to walk the long and lonely road of silent work. The grind requires patience, sacrifice, and resilience. It demands that you put in the hours when nobody is clapping for you, when nobody is cheering, and when nobody even believes in you. That is when character is built, and that is when true success is earned. When you grind in silence, you remove the distractions of validation. You no longer seek approval from others. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself through words. Instead, you focus entirely on the process. You wake up early, you train harder than anyone else, you study deeper, you sharpen your skills relentlessly, all without posting about it, all without telling people every detail of your journey. That silence becomes your power because it forces you to rely on discipline rather than motivation. And discipline is what produces greatness. The world doesn't need to hear your plans. The world needs to see your transformation. And that transformation only comes when you devote yourself to the unseen grind. The beauty of working in silence is that it keeps your enemies confused and your critics blind. People cannot sabotage what they cannot see. If you're constantly talking about your goals, constantly revealing your next move, constantly seeking validation, you open the door for negativity, doubt, and resistance. But when you stay silent, when you grind in the shadows, you protect your energy. Nobody knows what you are building. Nobody knows how much you are evolving. And nobody can interfere with the process. And then one day, when the results arrive, when your success becomes undeniable, it shocks them all. The same people who doubted you, who mocked you, who didn't take you seriously, are forced to respect you because results don't lie. Results are louder than every excuse, every doubt, every criticism. Another reason silence is powerful is because it builds humility. Success achieved through noise often collapses under the weight of ego, but success earned through quiet, consistent work builds a foundation of strength and humility. You don't need to shout about your grind when your results already scream for you. The quiet worker doesn't chase recognition, yet recognition always finds them. This humility also makes you more dangerous because people underestimate you. They don't see the hours you put in. They don't see the sacrifices, and they don't see the fire you carry inside. They think you're ordinary until you show them otherwise. The grind is never glamorous. It is sweat, exhaustion, frustration, and countless moments of doubt. It is saying no to parties, saying no to distractions, and saying no to instant pleasures so you can say yes to a bigger future. It is about waking up when the world sleeps, training while others are wasting time, reading when others are scrolling, and building when others are gossiping. Silence forces you to find strength within yourself rather than from the crowd. And in that silence, you learn who you really are. You discover your limits, and then you break them. You face your fears without an audience. You endure pain without applause. That kind of resilience creates a success story that nobody can deny. Think about it. The most successful people in the world rarely announce every step of their journey. They stay hidden, they work in the background, and they let their results speak. Champions are not made under bright lights. They are made in empty gyms, in long nights, in private battles that nobody sees. The world only sees the highlight, the final product, but the grind is always hidden. And that is how it should be, because the process is sacred. The process is yours, not for show, not for validation, but for transformation. Working in silence also destroys the need for comparison. When you keep your goals to yourself, you stop measuring your progress against others. You stop caring about what people are doing, what they are achieving, or how fast they seem to be moving. Your only competition is yourself, and that is the only way to truly grow. Every day becomes about being better than yesterday, not about outshining someone else. This mindset allows you to stay consistent, because consistency is the key to shocking the world. You don't need to sprint. You just need to keep moving forward step by step, quietly, until one day you are so far ahead that people can't believe how much you've accomplished. Silence also develops mental toughness. When you're not seeking external validation, when you don't need anyone's applause to keep going, you train your mind to push through regardless. This creates an inner fire that cannot be extinguished by criticism or doubt. People can laugh, they can gossip, they can ignore you, but none of that matters because your grind is not dependent on them. And when your mindset reaches that level of strength, you become unstoppable. But let me make this clear. Silence does not mean weakness. Silence does not mean you are hiding forever. Silence means you are preparing. It means you are building quietly until you are ready to show the world something so undeniable that nobody can question it. And when that moment comes, you will not need to say a word because your results will do the talking. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every rejection, every painful step will be reflected in your success. And that success will speak louder than you ever could. So grind in silence. Let people underestimate you. Let them doubt you. Let them forget you. Because one day, when you rise, when you arrive with undeniable success, the same silence that once protected you will turn into the loudest roar of victory. Results will always speak louder than words, and your results will be the proof that you were never just dreaming. You were building. Sacrifice comfort for long-term greatness. Those words sound simple, but they carry a weight that most people will never truly understand. The reason is because comfort is seductive. Comfort feels good. Comfort makes you feel safe, satisfied, and content in the moment. It whispers to you every morning when your alarm rings, telling you to stay in bed for just a little longer. It calls to you every time you want to skip the gym, every time you want to eat what you shouldn't, every time you want to relax instead of work. Comfort promises you ease, but in reality, it robs you of your potential. If you want to achieve greatness, real, undeniable greatness, you must be willing to sacrifice comfort. You must give up the temporary pleasures that most people live for in exchange for the future that most people will never taste. Greatness is not built on softness. It is not achieved by those who choose the easy road. Every great man, every champion, every success story is born out of discomfort, sacrifice, and discipline. The truth is, the price of greatness is paid daily in small decisions. Do you sleep in, or do you rise early to work? Do you binge on entertainment, or do you spend those hours building skills and discipline? Do you spend your money on luxuries now, or do you invest it into something that will build wealth later? The difference between greatness and mediocrity is always found in the choices you make when comfort tempts you. The comfortable choice is easy now, but painful later. The uncomfortable choice is painful now, but powerful later. The world conditions you to seek comfort. Society pushes instant gratification at every corner, fast food, endless entertainment, cheap pleasures. It wants you distracted and numb because a comfortable man is a controllable man. But if you are chasing greatness, you cannot afford to live like the majority. You cannot afford to settle for fleeting pleasures that will leave you empty. You must decide to be different. You must decide that you would rather endure discomfort today than regret tomorrow. This means training when you are tired. This means working while others play. This means saying no to temptations that everyone else indulges in. Sacrifice is the price you pay for the life you dream about. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you will never taste the victory. Comfort is the killer of ambition. Think about it. When you're comfortable, you don't move, you don't push, you don't grow. Growth happens in discomfort. Growth happens when you challenge yourself, when you put yourself in situations that stretch you, when you do what most people avoid. That is where strength is built, That is where character is shaped, and that is where greatness is born. A life of comfort will always keep you small. A life of sacrifice will push you to heights that comfort could never allow. But sacrifice is not glamorous. It is waking up early when your body begs you to sleep. It is running miles when your legs burn. It is staying in to work when your friends are out having fun. It is investing your money while others spend theirs on pleasures. It is grinding for years without recognition, building in silence, sacrificing weekends, and giving up things you once loved. All because your vision demands it. People will call you extreme. They will say you're missing out. They will laugh at your discipline. But when the years pass and you stand at a level they can only dream about, those same people will envy the results of the sacrifices they were unwilling to make. Sacrifice is proof that you believe in yourself. When you give up comfort today, you are telling the universe that your future is worth more than your present pleasure. You are declaring that your vision matters more than your temporary feelings. That is what separates the great from the average. The average man lives for now. The great man lives for what he is building. And when that future arrives, when his work pays off, he enjoys a life that the average man cannot even imagine. Understand this, sacrifice is temporary, but greatness is forever. You won't always have to grind this hard. You won't always have to sacrifice sleep, weekends, or comfort. But in the beginning, while you are building, while you are forging yourself into something unstoppable, sacrifice is non-negotiable. It is the foundation upon which your empire will stand. Without sacrifice, you have nothing. With sacrifice, you have everything. The discomfort of today becomes the strength of tomorrow. The struggles you endure become the victories you celebrate. Look at anyone you admire. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they all sacrificed. They all endured years of discipline, rejection, and discomfort before they reached greatness. They gave up comfort to earn the right to live comfortably later. That is the irony. Those who chase comfort now will live uncomfortable lives later, filled with regret and limitation. But those who sacrifice comfort now will live in abundance, power, and freedom later. You must decide which life you want. Most people will never understand the level of sacrifice required because they are addicted to comfort. They want the results without the work. They want success without discipline. They want greatness without pain. But life doesn't work that way. Life gives you exactly what you're willing to pay for, and the currency is sacrifice. The harder the road, the greater the reward. The more you give up, the more you gain. Sacrificing comfort is not punishment, it is preparation. Every time you deny yourself the easy road, you make yourself stronger. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you harden your mind. Every time you step into discomfort, you step closer to greatness. And when the time comes for you to shine, you will realize that the sacrifices were not losses, they were investments. Investments that built the life you always dreamed of. So sacrifice comfort, sacrifice sleep if you must, sacrifice nights out, sacrifice distraction, sacrifice laziness. Do what others are unwilling to do, because while comfort will give you temporary pleasure, sacrifice will give you permanent power. The choice is yours. Live comfortably now and regret later, or sacrifice now and live in greatness forever. Discipline in private creates strength in public. This is the law that governs every true success story, the invisible truth behind every champion, every leader, every person who rises above the average. What people see on the outside, the confidence, the skill, the success, the power, is nothing more than the reflection of 1,000 private battles fought in silence. People admire the strength of those who stand tall in public, but they rarely realize that strength was built when no one was watching. The victories you see are born in private moments of discipline, moments where choices are made that define the trajectory of a life. Discipline in private means doing the work when there is no applause. It means waking up early when nobody would know if you slept in. It means pushing through the workout even when nobody's keeping track of your reps. It means studying, practicing, grinding while the world is distracted. Nobody cheers you on in those moments. Nobody posts about your effort. Nobody even notices. And yet, that is where greatness is built. Because if you can discipline yourself in private, you can trust yourself in public. The man who cannot command himself in silence will never command respect in the open. Strength in public is only the visible tip of an iceberg built on silent self-control. Think about it. When you see an athlete dominating the field, what you are really witnessing is not just talent. You are witnessing the endless mornings they dragged themselves to practice, the diets they stuck to, the temptations they refused. When you see a leader speaking with confidence, you are seeing the product of countless hours of study, preparation, and quiet reflection. The world only sees the result. It rarely sees the grind. That's why discipline in private is so powerful. It creates a strength so deeply ingrained that it becomes undeniable when exposed to the world. Discipline is not glamorous. It is boring. It is repetitive. It is often painful. It is making the same right choices day after day, even when there is no reward, no recognition, and no spotlight. It is choosing the uncomfortable action when the easy one is available. It is about building habits so strong that they become part of who you are. Discipline in private is refusing to cheat yourself, refusing to give in to laziness, refusing to compromise. Most people fail because they only show discipline when others are watching. They act strong when the crowd is there, but in private they are weak. And that weakness eventually shows itself in public. The truth always comes out. The difference between the strong and the weak is not found in public. It is decided in private. The man who is disciplined in silence becomes unshakable in the open. Because when you control yourself in the unseen moments, you build trust with yourself. You know you will not quit. You know you will not fold. You know that when pressure comes, you are prepared. That inner trust becomes visible confidence and people feel it. That is why some people walk into a room and immediately command respect. They are backed by years of private discipline that others cannot fake. Strength in public does not mean arrogance. It means resilience. It means standing tall under pressure because you've trained yourself to endure when no one was watching. It means speaking with conviction because you've prepared in silence. It means performing with excellence because you've rehearsed relentlessly behind closed doors. It is not magic. It is the result of 1,000 small decisions made in private, 1,000 temptations resisted, 1,000 sacrifices embraced. Discipline is the foundation, and strength is the reward. Understand this: when you lack discipline in private, you will eventually be exposed in public. The cracks will show. The weakness will surface. You cannot hide inconsistency forever. That's why true greatness cannot be faked. You can pretend for a while. You can talk loudly about your ambition. You can act strong in front of others, but if you are not disciplined in private, the truth will reveal itself when it matters most. The stage exposes the unprepared. The spotlight magnifies both strength and weakness. That is why only those who have mastered themselves in silence shine under pressure. Discipline in private also builds humility. When you are alone, grinding, sacrificing, resisting temptation, you realize how much effort greatness truly requires. You stop seeking shortcuts because you know the real work cannot be skipped. That humility keeps you grounded even when success arrives. It reminds you that strength is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about staying consistent despite imperfection. The man who disciplines himself in silence becomes both powerful and humble, a combination the world cannot ignore. This discipline also creates freedom. At first, it feels restrictive. Waking up early, controlling your diet, managing your time, denying yourself pleasures. But over time, discipline gives you freedom because it builds strength. When you master your habits in private, you become free from laziness, free from distractions, free from weakness. And when you step into the public arena, you carry that freedom with you. You are not a slave to temptation, not a victim of circumstance. You are in control. That control is strength, and it is visible to everyone. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for motivation. They want to feel inspired before they act. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Discipline is permanent. Discipline does not care how you feel. Discipline means you do it whether you want to or not. And when you repeat that long enough in private, you forge a strength that nobody can take from you. That strength becomes your armor in public, your weapon in every battle, your shield against every challenge. So remember this: the real test of who you are is not what you do when people are watching. It's what you do when no one is there. Do you stay true to your word when nobody hears it? Do you push yourself when nobody's checking? Do you stay focused when nobody cares? Because the answer to those questions determines the kind of strength you will have when the world is finally paying attention. The man who disciplines himself in silence becomes unstoppable when the spotlight finds him. Discipline in private creates strength in public. It is the hidden truth of every success. It is the reason the strong rise and the weak fall. If you want to stand tall, if you want to shock the world, if you want to carry strength that cannot be denied, then stop waiting for applause and start building in silence. Be disciplined when no one is looking, and when the time comes to step into the world, your strength will speak for itself. Ignore doubt and keep building in the dark. This is the mindset that separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. Doubt is one of the greatest enemies of progress. It creeps in from the outside when people question you, laugh at you, or tell you that what you want is impossible. But the most dangerous form of doubt is not what others give you. It is the voice in your own head that whispers you are not good enough, not strong enough, not capable enough. If you give in to that voice, your future dies before it is even born. That is why ignoring doubt is not optional. It is survival. If you want to create something extraordinary, if you want to build a life that shocks the world, you must keep going even when no one believes, even when no one sees, and even when your own mind tries to sabotage you. Building in the dark means grinding when nobody knows your name. It means working when nobody claps, when nobody encourages you, and when nobody even notices. It means pouring hours, days, months, and years into your vision with no guarantee of immediate reward. This is the hardest stage of any journey, and it is also the stage where most people quit. They stop not because the goal is impossible, but because they cannot endure the darkness. They cannot handle the silence. They crave validation, and when it doesn't come, they give up. But the truth is, greatness is always forged in darkness. Every champion, every success story, every icon was once an unknown person grinding in silence, fighting their doubts and building when nobody was watching. Doubt will always be present, but it is powerless if you refuse to listen. People doubt what they cannot see, and they doubt what they cannot do themselves. When someone tells you that your dream is unrealistic, they are projecting their own limitations onto you. When they laugh, when they discourage you, it has nothing to do with your potential and everything to do with their own weakness. That is why you must ignore them. You cannot let the small minds of others dictate the size of your vision. They don't see what you see. They don't feel the fire you feel. They cannot imagine what you can imagine. So stop expecting them to believe. They won't until you force them to. But even more important is silencing the doubt inside. That voice will come. It will tell you to stop. It will tell you that you are wasting your time. It will remind you of your failures, your weaknesses, your mistakes. It will try to convince you that other people are ahead, that you are falling behind, that your dream is too big. But here's the truth. That voice is a liar. It is fear disguised as logic. It is weakness trying to drag you back into comfort. If you listen, it wins. If you ignore it, you win. You conquer doubt, not by debating with it, but by acting in spite of it. Every time you take action in the dark, every time you keep building despite fear, you prove the voice wrong. And over time, your actions will silence it completely. Building in the dark is also a test of faith, not religious faith, but faith in yourself. Do you believe in your vision enough to keep working even when no one applauds? Do you believe in your future enough to sacrifice today without immediate payoff? Do you believe in your ability enough to keep creating, learning, and grinding even when the world gives you nothing in return? Because that is what separates winners from quitters. Winners keep going when nobody is watching. Quitters stop because they mistake silence for failure. But silence is not failure. It is preparation. The world may not see your work now, but one day it will. The results will come, the recognition will follow, and the same people who doubted you will be forced to respect you. Think about a seed planted in the soil. For weeks, even months, there is nothing to see. The ground looks empty. To the outside world, it seems as though nothing is happening, but in the dark, under the soil, roots are forming, strength is building, and life is preparing to break through. That is exactly what it means to build in the dark. You may not see the results immediately. Others may think you are wasting your time. But as long as you keep watering, keep tending, and keep believing, eventually the breakthrough will come. And when it does, it will be undeniable. Most people fail because they quit too early. They give up in the dark because they confuse the waiting period with failure. They cannot endure the season of silence, so they abandon their vision. Don't be one of them. Understand that the dark stage is necessary. It is where you develop the discipline, the resilience, the patience, and the strength to handle the success that is coming. If you skip the dark, you will not survive the light. The grind in the unseen is what prepares you for the spotlight. The truth is, doubt will never fully disappear, even at the highest levels. Even after success, you will still hear whispers of doubt. But the difference is that you will have built such strength, such proof of your ability, that the doubt will no longer control you. The only way to reach that level is by enduring the early days, the silent grind, the long nights of building with no recognition. That is where champions are made. Ignore the voices, ignore the critics, ignore the doubt inside and out. Keep your head down and build. Let your work speak louder than your fears. One day, when the world finally sees the results, all the doubt will be replaced with shock. They will wonder how you did it, where you came from, how you rose so high. They will not realize that you were building all along, quietly, patiently, relentlessly, in the dark. So when doubt comes, and it will, remember this, you don't need them to believe. You don't even need to feel confident every day. You only need to keep working. Every brick laid in silence, every rep done in solitude, every hour spent building while nobody cared is moving you closer. Stay the course. Trust the process. Build in the dark, and when the time comes, your success will be so bright that it will blind every doubt that ever tried to stop you. Success is the loudest form of revenge. In a world full of doubters, haters, and people who secretly wish you to fail, nothing silences them more powerfully than your success. You can argue with them, you can shout back, you can waste energy trying to prove them wrong with words, but words will never carry the weight that results do. Words fade, arguments get forgotten, but results are undeniable. When you succeed, when you rise, when you achieve what they said you couldn't, your existence becomes the proof that their doubt, their negativity, their criticism meant nothing. Success is not just about money, fame, or status. It is about building yourself so strong that those who tried to break you are forced to watch you thrive. Revenge doesn't need anger. It doesn't need violence. It doesn't even need confrontation. Revenge is waking up every morning, grinding harder than anyone, staying focused, and reaching levels they never thought you could. When you win, the people who laughed, doubted, and tried to pull you down are left with nothing to say. That silence is sweeter than any insult you could throw back at them. Your victory becomes their defeat, not because you hurt them directly, but because you proved them wrong in a way they cannot deny. Most people waste their time fighting small battles with their critics. They answer negativity with negativity. They argue on social media. They let insults get inside their head. That is weakness. You don't fight with words, you fight with results. Every second spent arguing with a doubter is time stolen from your progress. The strongest move you can make is to put your head down, grind in silence, and let the results roar for you. One day, those same people who told you to quit will have no choice but to acknowledge what you built. That is true revenge. Think about it. When someone betrays you, when they mock you, when they doubt you, they secretly hope you will stay down. They expect you to fold, to break, to quit. The greatest revenge you can give them is to do the opposite, to rise higher than ever. Nothing hurts a hater more than watching the person they underestimated succeed beyond imagination. Success forces them to confront their own weakness, their own mediocrity, their own failure. They are left behind while you move forward, and that burns deeper than anything you could ever say. Success's revenge is also pure because it comes from self-mastery. It requires discipline, sacrifice, and relentless focus. You are not wasting energy trying to drag others down. You are using all of it to build yourself up. That's why your success stings so deeply. For those who tried to stop you, they realize you didn't need to fight them. You didn't need to answer them. You simply outgrew them. You left them in the dust, and the distance between you and them is the loudest message of all. But understand this. Success as revenge doesn't mean living your whole life for others. It doesn't mean everything you do should be about proving people wrong. That's too small of a purpose. Success is first and foremost about you, about unlocking your potential, living the life you want, and becoming who you were meant to be. The revenge part is simply the byproduct. It's the bonus. While you're building for yourself, your family, your future, the people who doubted you are forced to watch. They can't stop it, they can't ignore it, and they can't explain it away. That's the beauty of it. Many people think revenge comes from confrontation, but confrontation fades. You argue with someone, you prove your point, maybe you embarrass them, but eventually it's forgotten. Success, however, lasts forever. Every achievement, every milestone, every victory becomes a permanent reminder to those who underestimated you. They can move on, but deep inside, they will always remember the day they told you that you couldn't do it and how wrong they were. Success is also contagious. When you rise, you inspire others who have been doubted, rejected, and underestimated. You show them that revenge doesn't come from bitterness, but from progress. You become living proof that it is possible to turn pain into power, rejection into resilience, and doubt into domination. Your journey becomes bigger than yourself, and that is the ultimate victory. You not only prove your critics wrong, but you also empower others to do the same. But here's the catch. Success doesn't come easy. If you want revenge through success, you must endure what others won't. You must stay disciplined when they give up. You must work when they're distracted. You must sacrifice when they're indulging. The path to success is lonely, it's painful, and it requires years of effort that nobody will see. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. Because when the success finally arrives, it carries the weight of all the sacrifices you made. And the people who doubted you will see not just the result, but the journey they never believed you could walk. Revenge through success is also the most elegant way to rise above